Hello and welcome to The Exchange. Our guest today is rapidly becoming a household name and he looks to be well on his way to become an international star. He is our very own Sri Lanka's young racing prodigy, Yevan David. Hello Yevan and welcome to The Exchange. So Yevan, in your season now in Euroformula, after just the first two races, you are standing at the top of the points table. Was this your expectation?
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. And yes, I've always expected that I was going to do good things in this championship. And I've been working hard since the start of the season, since the start of the year, really. And after the first round, I was a bit nervous, not knowing what to expect, if it would be a failure and not a success. But so far, it's going very well and 2 rounds down out of 8. So looking forward to it.
Sounds perfect. And you are racing with Team Motorpark. And how is your analysis of this season so far about your performance and also your team's performance?
I would say at the first round, my performance has been quite good, and so has the team's. In the first round, the team was really able to bring us up because we weren't in a good place straight away. But they worked very hard and I worked very hard as well, and the performance has been great from everyone. And then in the second round in Spa, we had a very good weekend when things were thrown at us with people crashing into us and safety cars, but we were able to make the best out of it and pull a good performance out of it. We learned a lot and we're going to use it for the rest of the season as well, so very impressive.
Like you said, from the start of the season, since these events have happened so far, have your expectations changed? Where do you stand so far and where now?
So far, my mind is still clear. As of now, the results aren't affecting my judgment. I'm still focusing on my process and working hard, and I'm not changing anything about my structure. I'm just focused on doing the same job every weekend. So I'd say my expectations haven't changed too much and I'm still focused on the job at hand.
Great. And so let's move back to your past. Let's start about your inception. How did you exactly get into racing?
So I started at a very young age. I was around 6 years old and I started here in Bandaragama. And I was living in Singapore at the time, so my father was heavily into racing, and so was my grandfather, who did all the classic car runs here in Sri Lanka. So when we went back to Singapore after trying it here for the first time, me and my father decided to buy a go-kart and to start racing. And there'd already been a big history in my family of racing. So I started practicing, and every Saturday and Sunday we were just at the track, not doing anything else. And by 2015, I started in my first race in Singapore, started racing in Asia and then also in Sri Lanka in around 2018, and it started from there.
You've had a lot of support from your family, but when we talk about Sri Lanka in general, I would say parents are very skeptical about moving their children to dangerous activities. And if we talk about racing, I think that is somewhere in the top of the dangerous activities table. How, like you said, you did receive support from your parents, but what kind of a reaction did you get from others, from your friends, from your family, and what kind of support did you receive?
To this day, Archie is still scared to watch a race of mine because it can be dangerous, but at the time they were fully supportive, and my Ammi's first worry was that I was going to be away a lot and I was going to be traveling a lot and the family wasn't going to be together. So we decided that everywhere I went, at least in Asia where I went to race and practice, they came with me and we were always together. So that was the main worry more than about the danger. And then with my friends and my family, as I grew in racing, they all supported me. They all wanted me to succeed, and it was a really nice thing to see, and they still are to this day.
When we talk about racing in Sri Lanka, I would say there are very few names that we know. And one would be, of course, people like Dilantha Malgamuwa. And you have set many records now from your karting career through a Formula 4 to Formula 3. You are first of many achievements to achieve these records in these circuits. But at the same time, you can see how scarce it is that Sri Lankans do engage in racing sports. What is your analysis on that? Why do you think this has happened?
I would say it's a very difficult sport to get into overall. Nothing to say with Sri Lanka, and in Sri Lanka itself there's the racetrack in Katakurunda and Bandaragama, and nowadays especially there's a lot of young racers that are in racing and building up in Bandaragama in Sri Lanka, but not only there, in Asia. So it is definitely building up the last few years, and there are races like Uncle Dilanta and Esha and Aya who have gone abroad. So I think also with Formula One growing, a lot of more people knowing about it, there will be more racers soon, and there will be more opportunities just from people knowing what the sport is, because you know the common sports in Sri Lanka are cricket and volleyball and these sports, but now with racing growing, with more people knowing, I think there could be a huge interest in it.
Definitely, that sounds great. And with the exposure that you, of course, are also giving to racing, I think people are definitely starting, especially the young crowd is starting to be very much interested in racing. And speaking of racing, now you mentioned that you started down here in Sri Lanka, and at a very young age you had to move abroad for your training because it is something that is essential for your career. And you are also very strong on celebrating your Sri Lankan identity. What does that mean to you, and how has the public reacted to it?
Absolutely. The grassroots of my personality have been in Sri Lanka, because my family, especially my parents, they grew up in Sri Lanka. They went to school here and they had to move abroad for work. And my parents met in Sri Lanka and then moved to the UK, where I was born. But my family has a rich history of different religions. My grandmother is Muslim, my grandfather's Catholic, and my mother's Buddhist. And I'm pretty much the mix of all sides of Sri Lanka, and that's why I love coming back here, because I tap into all my history, and I've always been here since the day I was born. So this is also where I started racing. So not only with racing, but with my life as well. It started here, and the public has been great about it. You know, they're always welcoming me back into Sri Lanka, which I love to see. And hopefully they can support me by the track as well one day in the future.
Moving on to your training regime and how you prepare, what kind of a toll has it taken on you physically and emotionally, and is it stressful?
It can be difficult because you're traveling almost every other week. Like, for example, this week I'm here with you now speaking, and then next week I have a race where I have to travel 10 hours to go to Germany. So it can be quite difficult. But you get used to it. I've been doing this from a very young age, as I said, moving from Sri Lanka to all these kind of places. So you get used to it. The older you get, the more mature you are to handle these situations. And in the end, you're always going to a place you like. Whether you're going to travel for racing, there's excitement, or whether you're coming back home to see family and friends. So wherever you're going, wherever you're traveling to, there's always an excitement. So that's what makes it better.
I guess that is definitely a good outlook to have on all the busy schedules that you have. And like you said, you're an active student and you will be sitting for your advanced level examinations also very soon, I think. So how do you manage this with your busy schedule?
Well, as we always say, studies are still important. So yeah, I'm doing math, physics, and psychology as my A levels. I balance it with, you know, my free time when I'm away from racing. Like these days, I'm studying, and also sometimes on flights when I have time sitting on the plane, I do a bit of studying. And it's very difficult, but I've been in online school for the last 4 years now, and I've been getting used to structure my time and how to study more efficiently as well. And next year I'll be sitting for my exams, and hopefully it'll go well.
That is definitely a lot of juggling to do in your schedule. Yes. And like I said now, how is your future looking so far when you are balancing your academics with your racing career as well, and what are your expectations?
In terms of racing, I will be entering FIA Formula 3 next year. That's the plan, at least. That's what we're looking to do. And then after that would be Formula 2. And these two series are racing on the same weekends as F1. So my race for F3 or F2 will be earlier in the day. And I'm looking to do around 3 to 4 years in each of those categories, together. So that means Formula 1 for me should be the goal in around 4 or 5 years. And that's what I'm looking at. In terms of my studies, I will be doing engineering. That's what I would like to do in university. And obviously doing that alongside racing.
And now that you've spoken about engineering, actually, there are two types of drivers, I think, when it comes to racing. One type who knows their car to the T, and there's another type who basically do the job of driving. What type of a driver are you?
Oh, definitely both. When I'm at the track, you know, sometimes I'm told to stop asking about the car, to not, you know, jam my brain with too much knowledge. But I love learning about the car and knowing exactly where the limit is, just by knowing the parts and how it works. And I love learning about it, and that's why I want to do engineering as well in the future. And then alongside with that, I have the knowledge in my brain, but then when I'm driving, like you say, just drive to the absolute limit. So I'm definitely a mix of both because I love the car, not just the feeling of driving it. So yeah.
Sounds exciting. And now you have driven in many, many interesting tracks and very exciting tracks as well. What is your favorite track so far?
Definitely the one I went to last Spa was very fun. It was a very chaotic weekend as everyone saw, but it was a very fun track. It's very historic, very up and down, but also one of my other favorite tracks is in Abu Dhabi. It's a Formula One track as well, and these tracks are incredible. And there's a lot of other tracks for the rest of the year, like Barcelona and Monza again that I love. But definitely Spa and Abu Dhabi are my favorites.
So from the upcoming tracks, which one do you think you are the most excited for?
I would say probably Monza because I mean, even though I've been there before, it's a track where you can easily overtake. So there's always going to be something happening. Whereas a track like Barcelona, which is also just before Monza, you can't really overtake and stuff. So once you're in a rhythm, that's pretty much it for the rest of the race. But Monza is exciting. There could be anything that happening like what happened in last race in Spa. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Sounds amazing. And frankly, to ask you, how close do you think you are to Formula One?
My honest opinion, 3-4 years, and with the hard work and the right mentality, the right results at hand, we will be there.
Sounds amazing. Yevan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here with us, and we wish you the best of luck for all your future endeavors. And thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today.